Big headlines because, according to reports, Ron Hextall has been offered the Penguins GM job. It's official. He's going to be there. But what I didn't see coming is that Brian Burke is now the president of hockey ops as well. So Brian Burke, Ron Hextall officially joining the Pittsburgh Penguins. We will get back to seeing ISOs of Burkey up in the press box with his tie undone.
Yeah.
And we all missed it, right?
Yeah.
At least we did.
Yeah, well,
but
yeah.
NHL Network insider Elliotte Friedman joining the show to break it all down for us. Elliotte, what can you tell us about, I'll start with Ron Hextall, why he was the right guy for the Penguins?
I think the Penguins, I do think that the Penguins zeroed in on Hextall pretty early after their interview with him. He had a second interview on Monday, Jackie, and, you're always careful with what you say because you never know what's going to happen until the deal's signed, sealed, and 100% delivered. But it became pretty clear behind the scenes yesterday that Hextall was the front runner to become the general manager. And I think one of the reasons is, Pittsburgh, their prospect base isn't very high. They're concerned about some of their future. Obviously, there's a situation now where they have three cornerstones of their franchise, and who knows what all of their futures are going to be. And they know at some point in time they have to replenish what they don't have. And just down the state from them, there's a team in Philadelphia that was built a lot in terms of what Hextall's philosophy was, and I think he became the guy. And so I just believe that as things progressed, they looked what was happening with the Flyers. They saw what their prospect cupboard was like, and they said, that's the guy we want to rebuild that stock.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about Brian Burke. Now, you've worked with him for the last couple of years on the TV side at Sportsnet. Why is Brian Burke fit in your mind in this situation? I'm just trying to figure this out because Ron Hextall is an experienced guy. He's done it with, assistant GM, a GM. He's had that experience. Where does Burkey fit into the mix here?
So there's a couple of things here. First of all, Burkey called me, in the interest of full transparency, Burkey called me at 1:40 today to tell me that it was done. And I thought he was joking. I had no idea. He really kept this hidden from us. And, actually, he only told me before he would even tell me, he said it had to be kept quiet for another 35 minutes. So it's kind of what happened. I don't often do that. In this case, I did. I was surprised. I know he was really enjoying TV, but, nothing, when you're in the game, and EJ, you've lived a life of that, nothing beats that. Mm-hmm. And I just think he was in a situation where he wanted to get back to that. The opportunity presented itself, and he wanted that. Now, I have a theory, and if you've seen Mike Gillis's proposal that was on the internet all last week, I just think that it's too big a job now for one person. I think you need your hockey person, and I think you need your manager. And to me, Ron Hextall, I like this. I like what the Penguins are going to do here. Ron Hextall is your hockey person. He is the individual who's responsible for setting the philosophy of your organization on the ice, how you want to build your team, what your identity is. He's going to go and he's going to find players. And then you need your manager, the person who handles the day-to-day, does a lot of the media and things like that, and just allows the hockey person to be the hockey person. And I really believe, guys, now, especially in Canada, and I would say throughout all these teams, if you want to do this job properly, you need two people to do it. And I think that's kind of the way Pittsburgh looks at it. Burkey is the manager, and Hextall is the hockey philosophy creator. And if you looked at the tweet that was sent out by the Pens Inside Scoop Twitter account, Hextall's going to make the hockey decisions, and Burke is his advisor. And I don't think this is the last time we're going to see this set up. And I really do believe that this is the setup that teams have to start thinking about because it's simply too big for one person to do both jobs now.
Elliotte, so if Ron Hextall is the hockey person, I think the fans of the Penguins are thinking, yes, we appreciate what he did with the prospect pool for the Flyers, but that's not going to help Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin maybe contend one more time. He alluded to the fact that he's not a one-trick pony, just a development guy in his presser. So it seems like the duo still think that this group with this trio as the core pieces can compete for a cup. Will they take steps to try to make that happen, or will they look longer term like Ron Hextall did in his time with Philadelphia?
Well, first of all, Mike, every time I see you, I have to say this. Your office is mesmerizing. I see that stuff behind you.
Yes,
like the
preach.
pillows, the Rorschach design behind you there. Like, it is absolutely mesmerizing. I'm not even listening to you. I'm just looking at all that behind you. You're,
that's my trick.
So Hextall was asked about this on the conference call, and his answer kind of fit with what I heard from other candidates and people who heard what was going on in the interview process. And that is the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to play out this year, and they are going to let how the rest of this year goes in deciding how they're going to proceed. And so I think performance will dictate a lot of the answer. Now, I still think he's going to try to build up their prospect base, see if he can accumulate picks and whatever he tries to do. But it sounds to me like the Penguins have said, we're going to see how this year plays out and let that determine our future. Malkin and Letang can be extended this year. Crosby's got a bit more time. I do believe, Mike, that the Penguins' preference is to have all three of those players retire as Pittsburgh Penguins. But number one, the players do eventually get a say in it when their contracts are up. And number two, you also can't avoid what you might have to do, even if it's not pleasant. I think that one of the reasons that Hextall is good for this job is he's not afraid. Burke, we know, is he's not afraid. I think there were some people in the mix here that were not 100% comfortable with the fact that they would be overseeing potentially the dismantling of the Pittsburgh Penguins. I don't think either of these two people, if it comes to that, are going to be afraid of that.
Elliotte, it's an interesting swirl of personalities now within the Penguins group. You have the ownership with Ron Burke and Mario Lemieux, and then you have David Morehouse, who is the team president, and now you've brought in Brian Burke and Ron Hextall. And as you say, they're not afraid, and they're really not afraid to say or maybe do anything, to kind of to try to help the team win and to try to create a winning culture around their group. So how do you think that's going to work out, all those personalities in one spot?
Well, I just think it sounds to me like Hextall's got a lot of the juice when it comes to making the hockey decisions. So, the way I look at it this way is, we all have bosses. And, EJ, the day of the boss saying, you know what, hockey's a small business and you can do whatever you want, those days are over.
Yeah.
And they're over everywhere in sports. Sports is a billion-dollar business. The NHL is a $5 billion business. Other leagues are even bigger than that. These teams are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The day of you having not having anyone over top of you saying, what are you doing, are over. And you just have to get along with that. And I just think if you look at this, I know Berkey. I think he's there to support Hextall. Okay. I think he's there to do a lot of things that maybe Hextall might not want to do in terms of media appearances and things like that, and be like a buffer. That's what Berkey is there to do. And, other than that, ownership, like I said, this day and age, your owner's not going to let you do whatever you want. You just have to deal with it.
Well, it is a new day in Pittsburgh Penguins hockey. Elliotte, before we let you go, I'd be remiss not to ask what you'll miss most about working with Berkey every Saturday on hockey night.
Did you teach him how to tie a tie?
No. I'll tell you this. This is the thing I'm going to miss the most is after every segment, Berkey would go to all the other people who are on the air, and he would say, good segment, Ron, good segment, Kevin, good segment, Anthony, good segment, Cassie, and he would do everybody except me. And it never failed to make me laugh. It could be happening for the 650th time that night, and I would still laugh at it. So I will miss that. I really will.
This was a good segment. I thought this was a good segment.
Yeah, Johnny, I thought you were great. EJ, I thought you were great.
You were wonderful.
Elliotte, you are always wonderful.
Yes.
Thanks for hopping on and giving us the latest on this breaking news.
All right, guys, have a great show. Have a great afternoon.